A couple of years after this scene in Madison, the debate over the state's contentious collective bargaining law may have come to a head.
And the state has the bigger ship, and we shall win.
Today in Madison, it was a much more subdued setting as the state's highest court heard the arguments.
The state Supreme Court members heard hours of testimony today.
And now the indefinite waiting game is on for the court to make a decision. The case centers on a lawsuit a Madison Teachers Union and a Milwaukee Public Workers Union filed in 2011 challenging the restrictions on collective bargaining. Fox 11's Andrew Lacombe was in Madison today as tonight's balanced coverage from Madison.
Not far from where crowds gathered to oppose Act 10, Attorney General J.B. Van Hollen tried to convince the 7 Supreme Court justices to uphold collective bargaining changes.
It is certainly not a constitutional violation to limit the scope of collective bargaining, since it is not a constitutional violation to eliminate collective bargaining as a whole.
The law limits the contract negotiating powers of most public employee unions. Act 10 also requires members to vote each year to certify the unions. Van Hollen says they are still free to ask their employers for higher wages and other benefits.
There is no penalty for associating for that purpose, even if it were a fundamental right for association.
Attorneys representing the unions say Act 10 violates the associational and equal protection rights of union members. Attorneys argued individual school districts and municipalities should determine the power of unions.
This is a matter strictly of local affair, is not mixed, and is not something that is of a statewide concern.
Governor Walker says he is confident the state's highest court will uphold the law. At a Veterans Day event in Green Bay on Monday, the governor said if Act 10 were repealed, it would be devastating to schools and local governments.
If you were to go around and honestly get a response from local officials, mayors, common council members, county board members, school board members across the state, what they'd tell you is that this has saved them tremendous amounts of money they can put right back into services, right back into the classroom.
Governor Walker was asked whether his office will be involved in the Supreme Court case. He said the matter is in Van Hollen's hands. It's unclear when the court will announce its decision, as justices are under no timeline. In Madison, Andrew Lacombe, Fox 11 News.
It may be worth noting that in a separate case 2 years ago, the court reinstated the Act 10 restrictions.